Every year around this time, the Android Authority team gets together and tries to figure out what we think is the best phone of the year. At the same time, we open up public voting to all of our readers and viewers so that we can find out what phone they think is the best of the year. Sometimes we all agree on this. Like in 2022, when we all agreed that the Google Pixel 7 Pro was the best phone of the year. This year, though, we don't agree. Well, we can agree that the Pixel 9 Pro and the Galaxy S24 Ultra are the two best phones of the year. Unfortunately, we can't agree on which one is the absolute best. Let's start off with the Editor's Choice Award, which is the one that we here at Android Authority pick. So to start this off, we make a list of all the phones that we've reviewed over the past year, which usually is around 40 to 50 phones. And then we whittle that down to just the phones that got really good scores. And then we have a nice list of contenders that could possibly be the phone of the year. Usually this has a wide gamut of phones on it. For example, this year we had flagships like the Google Pixel 9 Pro and the Galaxy S24 Ultra, and we also had mid-rangers like the Galaxy S24 FE and the Google Pixel 8a. We even had phones that don't actually launch in the United States but still got really good scores, like the Nothing Phone 2a Plus and the Honor Magic 6 Pro. Once we have this list, we use a ranked choice voting system. So in other words, everyone on the team puts in what they think should be first place, and then puts what they think should be in second place, and so on until they've listed out 5 phones. We compile that all together and figure out what the top 5 phones are. So this year, it was no contest. The Google Pixel 9 Pro won by a handy margin. More than half the team put the Google Pixel 9 Pro as their first choice on that list. And the ones who didn't put it as their first choice still had that phone as one of its second, third, fourth, or fifth choices. In fact, the very few people who didn't put the phone as one of their top 5 actually listed the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL instead as one of their first or second choices. In other words, the Google Pixel 9 Pro series is a winner this year as far as the Android Authority team is concerned. And honestly, what's not to love about the Google Pixel 9 Pro? It has one of the best camera systems you can get in any phone across Android or anything else. It's beautifully designed, it has terrific software, and it's going to receive software support for the next 7 years, making it a terrific investment if you're the type of person who keeps their phone for a real long time. But really the best thing about the Pixel 9 Pro is that it does all of this while staying relatively small. There's pretty much no other phone you can get that offers the same level of features and polish in this form factor. So for people out there who don't really want a phone that's basically a small tablet in their pocket, the Pixel 9 Pro is now not only your best choice, but your only choice. I'll leave some links down in the description going over why we think the Pixel 9 Pro is so good, but I want to focus a little bit on some of the phones that didn't quite make the cut, but still came in with high marks. In second place, we had the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. I'm going to talk about this phone a bit more later on, but suffice it to say there are a lot of Samsung fans at Android Authority, so it was pretty much a shoo-in that this phone was going to be in the top 5 somewhere. The third place phone, though, is a little bit more contentious. For the first time ever on an Editor's Choice list, we have an iPhone coming in. That's right, the Apple iPhone 16 Pro is in third place for the Editor's Choice Award. Now, I know what you're thinking, we're an Android site, so why are we giving credit to iPhones? But the iPhone 16 series was pretty good this year. Granted, there are a bunch of flaws, such as Apple Intelligence basically being a joke right now, and the fact that the iPhone designs haven't changed over the past 4 or 5 years. But when you ignore these, you get a bunch of solid phones. Also, there are some advantages to using an iPhone, such as video recording, which we have to admit, the iPhone still does better than pretty much any Android phone. So if you're looking for a great all-around phone and don't mind not being on Android, the iPhone 16 series is a worthy contender. I already mentioned the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, and that one actually came in fourth place for the Editor's Choice Award. This is interesting because I feel like it kind of cannibalized the votes a little bit, and this is something I'm going to touch on later on. If we had just put on the list the Google Pixel 9 Pro / Pro XL, it would have done incredibly well. So this is something that we're going to have to think about for maybe next year, because the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro XL are incredibly similar phones. It's just that the XL is a little bit bigger, so it has a little bit bigger battery and it has a little bit faster charging. But really they're basically the same. So we might be rethinking this for next year, but for now, the Pixel 9 Pro XL came in 4th place for the Editor's Choice Award. Finally, in 5th place, we have the OnePlus 12. This is the first time that a slab-style OnePlus phone has been in the top 5 for a number of years. In fact, the last time was in 2019 with the OnePlus 7T. So it's been a minute. We will have to say though that the OnePlus Open was on the list last year. But that was a foldable phone and it was a surprisingly good one, and OnePlus didn't get around to releasing a sequel this year. If it had, who knows, that might have been on the list. But the fact that this OnePlus 12 has made it onto the list is pretty notable. So we'd like to welcome OnePlus back to the fold. Okay, so you know how we chose our phone of the year, but let's go into the Reader's Choice Award, which is the one that you selected. First, we did an elimination round at AndroidAuthority.com. This was a list of 35 phones, the longest list we've ever had for a Reader's Choice Award. At the end of the voting for this round, the Google Pixel 9 Pro was the clear winner. It was head and shoulders above everything else, including the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Below the S24 Ultra, we had the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, and below that we had the OnePlus 12. So, a very similar lineup to what we saw with the Editor's Choice voting. Once again, the Pixel 9 Pro XL kind of cannibalized the votes a little bit. If you combine the Pixel 9 Pro and the Pixel 9 Pro XL's votes, you would have a phone walking away with the award very easily. And I do want to point out the 5th place phone here, which might surprise you, was the Apple iPhone 16 Pro Max. So, any of you who are now in the comment section below this video typing out an angry message about how could we pick an iPhone for the Editor's Choice Award, well, guess what? Readers also picked an iPhone, but it just didn't make it into the Final Four. Once Final Four voting started, the Galaxy S24 Ultra took the lead very quickly. It blew past the Google Pixel 9 Pro and the Pixel 9 Pro XL and left the OnePlus 12 in the dust. It barely got any votes at all. However, if we had combined the Pixel 9 Pro and the Pixel 9 Pro XL, those votes combined would have sent the Galaxy S24 Ultra packing. So it once again brings up the idea of maybe we should be combining these phones next year so it doesn't split the vote. At the end of the Final Four though, regardless, we had two phones. We had the Pixel 9 Pro and the Galaxy S24 Ultra. So we put those into the finals across all of our various platforms and let you vote and decide. And guess what? Here are some numbers. It is very clear that the Galaxy S24 Ultra walks away with the prize this year. What's interesting though is how different these votes are across the various platforms. For example, at AndroidAuthority.com, our readers overwhelmingly prefer the Google Pixel 9 Pro. And at Threads, it's split right down the middle. It's only when you look at everything else that you see that the Galaxy S24 Ultra is winning handily, in most cases with a double-digit margin. Ultimately though, it's not super surprising to see a Galaxy S24 Ultra win this year for the Reader's Choice Award, because this phone pretty much always wins the Reader's Choice Award. In fact, I earlier mentioned that the Pixel 7 Pro had won the Reader's Choice Award in 2022, but pretty much every year aside from that, the Ultra has won. And even if you go back to when the Ultra wasn't a thing yet, the Galaxy Note line would always win the Reader's Choice Award. It's very clear that our readers simply prefer these big, do-it-all phones from Samsung that include an S Pen. So the Pixel 9 Pro not winning the Reader's Choice Award was kind of predictable. It's unfortunate that we couldn't agree on the absolute best phone of the year, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. These two phones are both stupendous. They're just for very different people. If you want that do-it-all device that's massive and beautiful and has that S Pen and costs a lot of money, then you definitely want that Galaxy S24 Ultra. But if you want something a little smaller, then the Pixel 9 Pro is going to be great for you as well. It really comes down to what you want and what your budget is. But now that you know which phones won the Editor's Choice Award and the Reader's Choice Award for 2024, I want to know what you think. Do you wish that we had agreed and gone with the Galaxy S24 Ultra? Or do you wish that the readers had sided with us and gone with the Pixel 9 Pro? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.